Good day, and this is the latest update on the Western Pacific. Another brief update for Tropical Storm Banyan, still moving across the Visayas region of the Philippines. It is the 12th of October, 8:30 Zulu, 4:30 p.m. Philippine time, or 5:30 p.m. Japan time. And we continue to watch Tropical Storm Banyan moving over the Panay Island. Actually, just exited. Located approximately 120 kilometers northwest of Iloilo City, somewhere right over here. The storm center is somewhere over here. According to numerous fixes, maximum sustained winds remain at 65, gusting to 85 kph, and the storm is currently moving west-northwestward at 20 kilometers per hour. We do want to note that Pag-asa and JTWC have downgraded the storm to tropical depression. Only the JMA is currently classifying it as a tropical storm. Furthermore, due to the overall presentation of the storm, looking at it in this 2-kilometer image, you can't really see any organized low-level center, and the banding doesn't really help us that much in terms of locating the storm. So what happens is there is a big discrepancy actually amongst the two main agencies that we follow, JMA and JTWC, in terms of the location of the storm. I'll show you a map later, but what we did is to sort of take the middle track here and just approximate the location based on the satellite image. Just as I said, really poor representation in terms of locating that center, so all we are doing is approximation here, but kind of gives you a rough idea of how big the cyclone is and how really disorganized it really is. However, we do still see some pretty strong convective activity associated with the center, and we have very cold cloud tops now moving into Mindoro, and also those convective activity moving into southern Luzon now, bringing in some scattered showers over there, including the Bicol region and also southern Luzon, particularly south of just south of Manila. So I do expect those rains to continue inching their way up towards the north, and will definitely include the national capital by later tonight. In terms of Visayas and northern Mindanao, thankfully the weather there should be improving. All the signal warnings in Mindanao have now been lifted, so no more signal warnings there. The same thing goes for eastern Visayas, for Samar, Leyte, and other islands there. Weather should begin to improve tonight and into tomorrow. However, for central and western Visayas, you still expect some abundant amount of rainfall to fall tonight, probably another 100 millimeters or so, and then all those rains will decrease and die down by tomorrow, hopefully, and all those will shift towards the Luzon area by tomorrow. Again, right now, Pag-asa is downgrading this storm to a tropical depression, so signal number 2 warnings have now been lifted. All that remains is signal number 1 across these provinces and islands, much of them actually now in the Luzon region, Mindoro here, Marinduque provinces, and also southern Quezon now, the Luzon mainland. Do still have some signal warnings across Visayas, particularly here in Panay and Negros Occidental there. Now, as for the track, the storm again will continue to keep moving northwestward under the influence of this subtropical ridge north of the Philippines, and what will happen by Friday is this ridge will move westward and will build back in here in southeastern China. What it will do is it will cause Banyan to move or turn westward towards either Hainan or Vietnam. So theoretically we could see the same areas that were already hit by previous storms the past few weeks. So again, the same areas from Hainan all the way to central Vietnam should continue to monitor, and even Hong Kong actually continue to monitor the progress of the storm as it moves across the South China Sea. In terms of the strength, we have actually some very strong wind shear across the Philippines, around 30 knots across Visayas, which is really limited the intensification, really kept it under a weak tropical storm. But as you can see here, we do have a small area, narrow area of weaker wind shear and 10 knots actually, and that is expected to help our storm to somewhat reorganize and re-intensify back into a strong tropical storm as it moves across the South China Sea. And again, and once that subtropical ridge builds in here, do expect wind shear to slightly weaken as it again nears that ridge axis. You can see this narrow area of wind shear, and also South China Sea still has some slightly favorable sea surface temperatures, not as high as compared to the Philippine Sea, but still favorable for some intensification, mild intensification over the next 3 days there. But as for the track, you can see here Pagasa taking this northwestward across the southern portions of the island of Mindoro, and by tomorrow morning it's expected to be southwest of Manila, and then continuing to move away from the Philippines. By that time should be out of the Philippine area of responsibility by Friday morning. And well, never mind this dates timestamp from Pagas. I'm not sure how they do this timestamps. It seems to be anyway. Now moving on to JMA, also showing the same thing of the northwestward track, but more of a northerly track, taking it right across central Mindoro and moving again northwestward, and by tomorrow morning again southwest of Manila. JTWC meanwhile taking this just north of Palawan and moving into the South China Sea, and again long range forecasts take this again once it reaches the middle part of South China Sea. JTWC expects a stronger ridge which in turn will make Banyan turn more to the west, and showing it tracking actually towards Vietnam. And JTWC also expecting this to intensify slightly, again reaching a secondary peak intensity of 50 knots across the South China Sea by Saturday. Now again, I want to mention the differences in this track and the location of the storm. I want to point out here JTWC here. Latest update, the storm is slightly, as you can see here, on the near the southern tip of Panay Island. Now look at JMA here, and at the same time they are locating the storm north of Panay instead of south. So we got a big discrepancy in location of the storm. This is JTWC and JMA is right over here. So expect the big differences in the forecast tracks among these agencies, Pagasa included. But in terms of the consensus and the overall philosophy, they really show the same reasoning here of a northwestward turn although JTWC showing a much longer range of forecast, GMA actually only showing 24-hour forecast, because they do expect the storm to weaken back to a tropical depression by tomorrow. JTWC meanwhile expect this to again remain as a weak storm, as a weak depression, and then re-intensifying back into a tropical storm once it gets into the South China Sea. But as of right now, again, continue to watch and monitor the storm for as it moves across Visayas. In terms of rainfall, we already have 100 to 150 millimeters across many areas, including Samar here, Maasin, Leyte, Surigao and Rojas City. Also Legazpi here in Bicol already reporting 100 millimeters. So again, we do expect for much of these areas to get another probably 100 millimeters of rain by tonight. So all in all, we expect around 200 to 300 millimeters of rainfall from Banyan across much of Visayas, and actually that could translate as well into southern Luzon. We could see 100 millimeters there, 100 to 200 millimeters there as well by tomorrow. So definitely going to be causing flooding. And also check in with your carriers for possible delays. We've already had news of cancelled flights due to the to the weather there, so something to keep in mind. So concludes the update for today. Have another update for tomorrow. Stay safe. Just keep on checking us here for the latest video updates, and as we monitor the progress of the storms. Until tomorrow, stay safe. Bye bye.